morning, artists. Happy Monday. It's a little chilly today. I got my wrap on and everything. It's bright and sunny out, and it sounds like it's going to be the last day that it's going to be a little chilly for a while. So looking forward to a little more warmth and hopefully some brighter days. I know it's been a crazy week, and we're just going to keep on doing the best that we can. I'm hoping that everybody is staying very safe and just taking care of yourselves and taking care of your family, and doing the best you can right now. I know it's ridiculous that we're still doing some classes despite pandemics and everything going on, but with 2 weeks left, we're just going to keep pushing and work together and get through this. And if you guys need anything at any point, please do reach out. If you need to talk to someone, please do. In the meantime, we're going to start a new project today. We're going to be doing a little drawing. It's pretty simple. I think you guys are going to like it. It's quick, but it's also kind of fun and creative to do. We're going to be doing a symmetry drawing. And symmetry is when something is mirrored on the other side. So they are looking pretty much the same, but have like a flipped version. So it's like your mirror image. It's the same, but flipped over. And I'm going to show you some cool ways to do a symmetry drawing on your own without having to use like a computer or anything like that. Okay, so I'm going to flip you around here and we'll get started with that. You are going to need some paper and a pencil, and we're going to color this one too. The last one we didn't do any color on, so we'll add some color to this one. And I'm going to start off with my piece of paper. And you're going to start by folding it, okay? We're going to be folding it a couple of times. So we're going to fold it in half. Press that down good. Okay. Then we are going to fold it in half again. Nice edges. And one more time. So folding in half 3 times. Press that out, press that out. Okay. When you start to unfold it, what I like to do is to press into the fold. So you can see how it kind of bends a little bit. My hand on this side is pushing along the fold. And it just helps to straighten it out. What I'm doing is I'm pushing my finger along the edge of the fold to help straighten it. So every time I open my paper, I'm going to do that again. So I open it, I put my finger on the back and push it, and just draw my finger along that edge. It helps to keep the line nice and neat, but it also prevents it from just staying folded up. If you just open it and leave it, it's going to want to keep folding over like that. So by pushing on the fold and drawing my finger along it, it keeps it nice and smooth. So I've got 8 different sections here I'm now working with. Okay, we're going to start in one of them. I'm going to bring you guys in a little bit closer, so we're just focused on this one. You can tell I'm using some less than perfect paper, but that's okay for this. So for this, I think what I'd actually like to do, what's nice about this is you can choose just about anything that you might want to do inside of this little square here. You don't have to worry about the rest of the paper. You're just worried about this little corner rectangle. And you guys can choose the subject that you want. So if you want to do some fun designs, if you want to do a character, if you have any kind of message you would like to put, you can put all of that in this space. The goal is to make something, though, that you can color. So if you want to do something that involves writing or letters, try to use like some block letters if possible. I want to do something with my initials. So I'm going to start off with, I'm going to do it really lightly at first. Big letter S. And then I'm going to sneak behind it a letter M for my middle initial, and then behind that, my letter L. Now I drew those really lightly. I know it's a little bit hard to see. I'm going to turn you a little bit too so you can see. Hopefully this, I think this is actually helping with the zooming in and out when I tilt it. I know it's a weird angle for you guys, but I think it keeps it from the focus from playing too much. So, little block letter lesson for you. Anytime you want to make a block letter, and a block letter is a letter like this, where you have a space that you can either shade, color, do designs on, stuff like that. If you want to do a block letter, I mean, I went and just did it, but that's because I've had a lot of practice. What you can do, and what I will still do like I did here, is write out the letter very lightly in pencil so you can see it, and then trace around it a little bit darker around the outside. And then if you have something like the B that has this inside spot, trace around the inside, and then you can go and erase away the pencil. And that will work with any of your letters. Some of them that are a little more simple, like a letter C, you don't have to do an outline around. You can just copy the letter a little smaller and then connect it. Same thing with like a letter D. You can do a letter D and then just copy around the inside. So this works best with letters that have almost like a continuing line. When you have something like a letter E, you might want to draw that out, because you can't just draw another letter E on this one. So this one you can then go around. Ta-da. F would be the same way. And when you get good at it and you have an understanding of the letters, you can start to just do it without having to draw the letter. For a letter G, I'm going to do the trace around for that one. Boom. Hopefully you get the idea, but if you watch through this and then there's a letter that you're wanting to make and you're not sure how to go about doing that, just let me know. And then during the week, I can sneak in some of those little mini lessons as well. So I won't go through the whole alphabet, but hopefully this will give you an idea of how to do it, okay? But again, if you want a specific letter, you want me to do a certain letter, just let me know, and I can put a little video together for you. So I've got my letter S on here. I'm going to turn that into a block letter, trying to keep it inside as much as I can. Now letter L, because it's pretty simple, I can just go right around with it. All right. And because I've got all this extra space still, I'm going to do some little designs in these corners. So I'm going to start off with doing some of those design things that we've been doing before. Things where you are creating little shapes. Just fun little design type stuff. Let's do another. Kind of like a flower there. And then we'll do some little details inside it. So the goal in your first drawing here is to try to make something that fills up the space, but also touches the edges. So like touching the edge here, touching the edge here. We're going to do another one up here. We're going to do this one a little different. This was a circle. Since this is a wide space, let's do something a little bit more free-shaped. So still the same idea. I'm still going to use the idea of shapes going around. But now I'm going to treat it a little different. Let's do another little stripe here. That's kind of fun. Let's do another big fill in the space kind of shape. And then just to make sure we have something on each side, I'm going to sneak a little something in this corner and a little something in this corner. All right. Just doing a little bit of cleanup in here now, erasing some of the little pencil sketches. Okay. Now, once you've got the drawing on here pretty well, I've already kind of done it pretty dark, but if you haven't pushed down very hard, your next step is going to be to make sure to go over your lines and make sure they're pretty dark. In order for this trick to work, you're going to need to press down kind of hard. Now, some of you might already know where I'm going, but before you get ahead of me, watch to see what I'm going to show you. Okay? So, now that we finished one panel, what you're actually going to do is you're going to fold this over just along that first fold line. So I'm going to fold this over so the edge kind of lines up near the middle, right on that original line. Now, in previous cases, you might go and use your pencil and press down hard and kind of draw on top of this. And what that will end up doing is it'll force the pencil lines to go through. Okay, so just so you can see a little bit of that, I'm just going to do a little section. Don't go and start doing that quite yet when you do yours. Just kind of watch this for a second. And you can see it copies, kind of lightly, the design onto your paper. Now, doing it in pencil on the back, that's great so you can see where you did your drawing and you know how much more you have to do. The only problem with this is that you're going to have all this pencil on the back of your paper. And when you open it back up and start to do any kind of coloring on the inside, what's going to happen is it's going to push that pencil onto whatever it is that you're working on. So if you're just working on your kitchen table, you're going to be coloring and you're going to get pencil all over your table. So if you decide to go the route and just go with pencil, just keep in mind that you're probably going to end up having to do some cleanup later. So instead, you can try it with some different tools. One thing you can try, if you're careful, is to actually get rid of the lead on your mechanical pencil and use the side of the pencil to press down. Don't want to use the tip of it. If you press down on the tip, that's going to end up making a big mess of it. But you can press down while it's on its side, and that will also copy it over. You can use other things that are plastic, like pens, even the end of a roller pen, markers. Paintbrush might not be the best because the paint might come off of the end there. I'm actually going to try this out. I'm going to use a spoon. It's bigger, it can cover more area, it's a little more comfortable holding it and pressing it through. So you'll want to check kind of often as you're doing this. So I'm getting the corners first, rubbing back and forth, pressing pretty hard. And if you notice that your pencil isn't pressing through as much as you would like, a good trick you can use is to get some extra scrap paper and put the scrap paper underneath. So like grabbing, obviously not my whole chunky pad, but putting some extra paper underneath can help make it so that the pencil works a little better. If you're using a very hard surface like a table or countertop, it might not work as well. What I have is I've got my cutting board underneath here to protect my table for when I do cutting work, and that actually is pretty soft. So I'm going to go over the whole thing with my spoon. And it's working fairly well. I don't think I'm pressing down quite hard enough. That's better. So you can hear it kind of scraping a little bit because I'm trying to push down a little bit harder on the edge of it. Much better. It's almost enough that I can see all of it. Few areas that are missed. So once you've pretty much got it well enough that you can see everything, now you can go back with your pencil and start to darken these lines. And what you're going to end up with is a drawing that is the opposite of the first one you did. So you'll go through and darken up all these lines, and you can probably guess what's coming next. You're going to be repeating this process a few different times. So we need to darken this up to make sure that it copies onto the next section. And what can be really cool with this is, especially on these areas where the two sides meet up, it creates a really cool little design. So I'm going to go through and give everything a little bit of a darker outline, and then we'll keep up the copying. If you've been watching any of the little extra streams and stuff that I've been doing, other than the assignment ones, you know I've been working on different pictures and talking about symmetry before. The idea of things matching from one side to the other. And I am a fan of symmetry. I like it when things match or mirror. And that just might be the part of me that likes things to be organized. Symmetry can be a very organized looking piece of art. That part didn't copy down quite as well as I wanted, but we can see it just barely. Okay. also did not copy very well. I'm kind of peeking at the other side to make sure I don't miss anything big. Oh, and on this one, I didn't even do the little lines on there, so we'll have to sneak that in. We can do it. We're tricky. Most of them I can see well enough. And if you have a spot that you can't see very well, you can always fold it back over and press it down more. Like this one. This one didn't come out hardly at all. So I'm just going to take my spoon, just like that. All right, so now that this one has been darkened, now we're going to take the whole thing, fold that all the way over in half, and start the process again. Now you'll probably notice as you do this that your paper is going to get a little bit warped. You can kind of see the end of it is curling a little bit. And that's just what's happening when you're pressing down one part of the paper. It's like you're trying to flatten out one area. You're making the paper almost thinner, and the rest of the paper is still the same width as it was before. Even though paper itself is very thin, when you push on it like that, it does cause the paper to warp a little bit. Don't worry about it too much. It's just something that happens to the paper. It's not going to really hurt anything, and when you go to start doing your coloring and stuff, that'll help to smooth it out a little more too. Just be careful when you are doing the pressure parts. If you are using just the pencil, be careful that you're not tearing through the paper too much. Let's just take a peek and see how it's going. Not too bad. Everything pretty solid so far. Get that edge a little bit and get this part of the S a little bit more. Now there are ways you can do something like this with tracing and holding it up to a window or a light, but it's not always easiest. It's not the easiest way to work when you're pressed up against a window. But I find this way it's much easier. And you can do it from anywhere, and it doesn't matter whether it's day or night, it'll still work. Looking good. Now, if you find that you're rubbing pretty hard and it's still not showing up, there's a chance that that part of your drawing might not have enough pencil on this side. So it might mean just having to go in and drawing over your lines one more time, making them a little bit darker, and going from there. It looks like we got everything major. So you can see how my paper is trying to curl quite a bit from that. That's all right. So I'm going to peek back at the beginning part here. And a couple of the lines that are looking a little bit gray, I'm just going to go over one more time. Because they've got one more time they need to copy. So just making sure all of these are nice and dark and ready to go. Okay. Now to the new side. A lot of the times if I'm doing a project where I want to have symmetry, I will do something like this first on some scrap paper, and then I will use the same trick to transfer the drawing onto a new paper. So if ever you're doing a project and you have something you want to do and you want to make sure that it comes out just right, you can always draw it on a piece of paper first and then use this trick of rubbing it onto another piece of paper to copy it over. And you have a lot less risk of having to do lots of erasing marks or anything like that. So when I do my cool big carving pieces, I will do the whole thing in pencil on paper first, because it doesn't work out very well to erase on the board that I use. It causes indents to happen. So I'll do it all on paper first before I do it on the final board. Probably put a little more detail in this part than I needed to, but it's going to look pretty cool by the time I finish it. Especially this part going around the outside. In the driveway, we have a basketball hoop. We don't use it, but a robin has made its nest at the top of the hoop, right where the hoop meets the backboard. And she already had a nest once already this year, and she's already sitting on another one. She's like, I raised those babies, and now they're gone, and now I'm going to have some more babies. I told my sister we should name her, because why not? Because she's there, you know? And I'm thinking, you know, give her a name that, you know, maybe starts with an R. Robbie the Robin, Regina, Rosalind, you know, because it sounds fun. She goes, Penelope. So now we've got Penelope, Penny for short, the robin, who built her nest on our basketball hoop. Should have found, I'm not as sports savvy as I could be. I should have found the name of a lady basketball player, named her that. Maybe there's a lady basketball player named Penelope. Or Penny. If you guys know any, let me know. Google that for me. I love these little parts where things start to merge in together and make new shapes. Now I'm pretty sure I've been asked before if it's possible to do with this with colored pencil, and I believe that to some degree it is. Colored pencil doesn't transfer nearly as well. It's not like you could draw one of these and color it and then have it copy over. Some of the color might copy, but colored pencil does not transfer nearly as well as regular pencil does. So that's why we start with pencil. Okay. So there's the top part of our piece is done. We can pause for a tea break. We got cinnamon again today. Good, good, good. So now that we got the top half, now we fold it over to get the other half. Now I'm going to try something first before I go too far. Instead of pressing down on the side that I started with, I'm going to try the opposite side really quick. Because here's the thing. Since I've been pushing against this side so much, I'm worried that my first page is going to get even more warped. So I just want to see. This does not hold this. Get into the right spot, please, and thank you. There. Just for kicks, we're going to see if I press on the other side, if it will still transfer as well. Sometimes it will. It will. Okay. This way I can kind of protect some of my paper a little bit. I want to make sure I get really good right along the edge of the fold too. For all those designs I got sitting in the corners. I recommend doing this in little amounts too. Like, don't try to go huge across the whole paper. There's a chance then while you're doing that you might end up catching the edge of the paper, pulling it, bending it, tearing it. And when you are near the edge, instead of going back and forth too much, you might want to just press out towards the edge. As you get further in, you can start going back and forth again. Looking pretty good so far. It's not always the best idea to go back and forth and check, just because there's a chance that it won't line up the same. So try to limit your checking when you can. Just to make sure that it doesn't fall out of alignment. Did I get this corner? I did not. There we go. So just to check it, the whole thing. Pretty good except for the one side of the L, it looks like. And right around here. All right. We're going to trust that that's good, and we're going to get to the next area. Be kind of sensitive too along the areas that have been deeply folded like this, just because those could have a tendency to rip more too. Anywhere that you have folded or bent the paper, it does make the paper a little bit weaker. So just be careful along those edges that you're not scraping too hard. If you do get a little rip or tear, be careful, work around it. And then what you can do is put a piece of tape on the back of the paper when you're ready to like start doing your coloring and whatnot, just to help protect it. This one area is probably one of the most detailed, so I just want to make extra sure that I press that down really well. It's actually pretty good down here. Tea break, tea break. It's a bit of a workout for your arm too. It's a lot of pressure you got to put down on it for a longer period of time. So if you get tired, make sure you give yourself a little break. Wonder how well this end would use. That part's pretty flat. It's all right. Not any better or worse than any other part of it. Just missing the one. It's always near the edge. That's usually where it ends up missing the most, is right along the edges. So try to pay really good attention to those spots. way in the corner. That side doesn't seem to work quite as well. That's all right. It's all right. Now, one of the things I would probably do if this were a longer term assignment would be that we'd end up using some nice pens to do some outlining to make everything stand out a little bit more. But we're going to keep this one simple this week, I think. Relatively. All right, I'm going to press this fold flat again. So there was the side that was already drawn on. And here's the side with the mirror. So you can see it's starting to try and roll a little bit from all the pressure. So we're just going to give it a little bit of a roll the other way. And now to make everything match. So again, if you guys want to see how to do any of these block letters, let me know, or yeah, let me know. I'll make a little mini video about it if you guys want me to. So you can see now that I've got the center, it's making these really cool little patterns in the center as well. Very nice, very nice. So again, as you guys are working on these this week, please make sure before you turn it in that you write your name in the corner of the paper somewhere. Sign your work so that when you take your picture, you can clearly see your name. No name might mean that I turn your work back over to you and ask you to not do it again, but ask you to retake a picture with your name written on it. It is not okay to use the computer to like type your name onto it, it must be written on the paper, please. And I want you to have this look like you spent about an hour on it. So like right now, we're looking at, this is probably going to take me an hour just to do the drawing part. And I've got a lot of detail on it. So that would be acceptable for you guys if you spent a good hour doing the drawing portion of it. If you get done with the drawing and it has not been an hour, then I would like to see you do some coloring. I'm probably going to color mine anyway. I'd like to see what this looks like colored. And that will be tomorrow. And can you believe it? After this week, there's just 1 week left. It definitely feels like it's been the weirdest school year. But you know, at the same time, I feel like there have been some good things that have been learned. I think it's important for us to learn to be a little more conscious of each other and of the way that germs can spread. So like if you're coming to school and you have a cold and you're sick and you're coughing, just to really start thinking about what you can do to help other people not get sick, even if it's just with, you know, a cold or a flu or bronchitis or whatever it is. I spent some of my day yesterday after I finished my homework working on, my mom was great and made me a bunch of new masks, and I was just adding a little extra stitch here and there just to make sure they fit really well. Because for certain, I'm planning on still wearing masks next year. I hope it becomes a regular thing for when people are feeling sick. It would definitely be nice to have a year where our flu season isn't causing kids to be missing school for, you know, a week at a time, or for a teacher to be missing school for that long. I got pneumonia one year, a couple years ago, and I was at home for 5 days. I got a fever on a Friday and took the Friday off. By the next week, it was full-on pneumonia. I was lucky enough that year I had a student teacher, which is somebody who is still in college, but they're training to be a teacher. So she was able to pretty much take over the class by that point. And that was great, because then the kids were able to keep doing their projects and I didn't have to come up with crazy sub-plans. Now, if you start doing this and you create a design that you feel is taking a lot to do, like this is a pretty crazy design on my little drawing here. If you feel like you made it a little too complicated and you want to take some of it out, that's fine. As long as it looks like you spent an hour in drawing and or coloring, you'll be fine. Woo, it's a lot of circles. Almost there, guys. Push through to the end. Keep on fighting. Last little bit here. This part came out a little bit light, but it's still just barely enough to see the lines. Just barely. And there we go. How cool is that? So you get this cool little personalized drawing. Created some cool little extra shapes in here. Some nice little designs along the edges. Yeah. So hopefully you had something kind of fun and exciting come out from that too. And you'll see cool things like the letters making their own little shapes, like makes a nice little frame around the center here. That's kind of fun. And you can always do it in any direction you like. So depending on what drawings you did, if you want to turn it a different way, you can do that. Either way is fine. So, and you get it all finished, make sure that you put your name on it. If you used your own initials, that should be okay, but still find a way to sneak your name on there. Okay? I will put this one picture up, but then also encourage you guys to consider doing some color on it as well. All right? Let's spin you back around here for just a last little talk to you later. Straighten up their arm. Get everything beautiful and centered. Straighten that up just a little bit more. There. Perfect. Okay. So, everybody, stay safe this week. Stay healthy. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family members. and take care of your neighbors, all right? Take care of the people around you as much as you can. Wear your masks, wash your hands, and support each other and love each other, and always choose kindness, all right? You guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow with some more coloring, and the assignment will be posted up pretty soon as my whole video gets all edited, all right? You guys have a great day. I will talk to you tomorrow.